Places, please. Places for the top of Theater Countdown.
I'm singing, oh, cover, I'll cover you. That's what I'm singing today.
That would
Rent.
be very
That's
appropriate.
How we're getting into it, because
Yeah.
it's appropriate for the theme of the show. We're going to count down, I'll cover you. That's maybe better even, but cover rhymes with lover. Anyway, the point is, hi, you're listening to Theater Countdown. It's me, your Broadway buddy, Ben Cameron, here with my good Juddy.
Hello.
You can introduce yourself.
Oh, no, you do it so
By all
well.
means.
And other
Okay,
people
great.
in my life are calling me
Broadway,
Juddy now.
Broadway
What do I say, enthusiast?
producer and
Producer.
and actor and theater enthusiast and
Yes.
and influencist.
Thank you. Yes.
Michael Judson Berry.
I actually just signed on to produce my second Broadway show. So I am a producer now because I
Can
was
you
a
speak on
producer
it?
I was
Yeah.
a producer on How to Dance in Ohio, which was
Right.
such a beautiful show. And now my producing partner Dan Stone and I are going to do Othello with Denzel Washington and Jake Gyllenhaal. We signed on to be producers on that. The revival coming next spring. Which I am so excited
Well-
for. As we all know, I'm a big Shakespeare nerd, so I'm pumped
Yeah.
for this. Yeah.
Also, it's got to feel great to sign on as a producer for something that will absolutely make money.
Yeah, it's an it's an change. Yeah,
You know,
it's exciting.
It's always a crapshoot unless you've got Jake Gyllenhaal and Denzel Washington doing Othello. Then
Yeah.
you're probably going to make the money.
Most probably.
What
yes.
you put in. Most probably. That's very
You're-
exciting.
you're
And it's a
gonna get
musical,
out.
right?
Oh, 1,000%. Susan Stroman's choreographing it.
Yeah.
I can't wait
Oh
what
my
Stro
God.
does with it.
Finally.
Yeah,
You
it's
can't
about
audition
time.
unless you're 6 feet or taller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're reusing the
that-
costumes from Bullets
that's how
Over
she
Broadway.
rolls.
It's a whole new take. All the songs are from
Because they-
1917 specifically. Remember that in Bullets Over Broadway when
God.
Woody Allen was like, I want it to be a musical, but no original music. All the songs have to be authentically from the 20s. And that poor team had to just shoehorn those songs in there. And Marin Maisie
Like,
had
are
to
you
sing,
sure? They're
We
terrible.
have no bananas today.
Bananas today.
And that was the finale. And Marin Maisie
yeah,
went,
that's-
okay.
Do you think that's what took her out? Oh, too soon.
Oh.
That was tasteless and heartless and kind of funny.
A little bit. On a happy note, I finally saw Illinois. If we're gonna do
I
a
still
little
haven't
recap
seen it!
moment. And Illinois is perhaps one of my new favorite things I've ever seen on the Broadways. It is beautiful, beautiful. In this wackadoo Broadway season we have, this was a moment of absolute beauty. I loved it.
My boyfriend went by himself while I was out of town, and he got a ticket, and he went to see it, and he absolutely loved it. So much so, then last night when we went to see Water for Elephants, we had to stop into the Theater Circle store because he couldn't live his life any longer without an Illinois ball cap.
Whoa.
Are not available at the Theater Circle store on 45th Street just yet. And when we asked the guy, he was exactly who you think would be working at the store.
Yeah.
And he's like, we don't have any of those yet, unless they brought them in, and I don't know. And I said, well, how often does that happen? He's like, all the time. I was like, well, I guess we'll keep looking. I guess we'll keep looking then. And
That's amazing.
he was right. He was right the first time. No Illinois hats available. So don't, if you go see it, which apparently you should, get your hat hot and fresh there, because otherwise
Yes.
you're hatless.
Your hat out of luck. How was
Your hat out of luck,
you saw
baby.
Water for Elephants? I haven't seen that yet. I'm curious to see it.
I did. I saw Water for
love
Elephants.
acrobatics.
How did they do it? Then you'll love Water for Elephants. How
Great.
did they do it? So it was kind of a jam-packed day for me yesterday because this week, because I saw Tommy
Ooh.
on Sunday. Of course, these times and dates won't mean anything when this releases, but
a
because we're
Sunday.
releasing in the
Any
future.
given
But
Sunday.
a Sunday on an
the
ordinary
park.
Sunday. Anyone?
ordinary.
Anyone?
Uh,
With George. So I saw that, And I loved it because I love Tommy so much. And if you listen to last season, you will know that Tommy is one of my top 10 favorite cast albums of all time. And I stand on that hill with righteous indignance. I believe it. It's true. And this production was stellar. I did the show a couple times, so I'm like partial to it as like it's my favorite experience that I've had doing theater, being in that show, because it's 2 hours tops with a 20-minute intermission. It's still only 2 hours long, give or take 10 minutes. And no one in that show ever stops moving. It's like from the prologue is this like huge 10-minute orchestral, but let's talk about it's a rock and roll jam session. And if you're in the show, you are changing costumes and all the story is just told through the music and the movement. Nice. And then there's never a book scene and it just moves like crazy. So the cast was outrageous. They're all doing everything. I love this show so much. I just freaked out for it. And I thought to myself, Des McAnuff, who directed the original in the 90s, directed this one again. And I was like, this is very like George Lucas doing the Star Wars trilogy later on. Because I feel like for this show, the technology has finally caught up to what the idea behind the show was. Right?
Cool.
From 25 years ago. Now we've got the technology to like do these projections in a really, really crazy way. And it was just, it was awesome. So I saw that on Sunday, freaked out for it, loved it. I love that show. And I think it got nominated for Best Revival. I think it did not get enough nominations. Just in general across the board of the Tonys. I don't think, and I don't know, Des already won for directing it back in the 90s. He won the Tony. Did it win Best Musical?
I think it might have. I don't know. I'm not even going to try and make sense of the Tony nominations this year. I mean, I don't envy them because there were a record amount of shows, I believe. There were, 16 new musicals alone. Yeah. So I get wanting to lean into the shows that are currently open. But beyond that, I don't know. The Tony nominations to me, some of them I was like, yes, and some there were just so many left field ones. But who am I to judge, you know? And art's subjective, and it's not all about the awards. This season is the Wild West. But while you search, but yeah, you talking about Tommy, where there were no book scenes, it just flows. That was another thing with Illinois. I was like, oh, it's just the album and dancers, and will I follow it? Will I get the story? I was in tears. I realized I was like, you didn't need words with this story. Like, and it's just seamless. It's, 90 minutes straight through, no intermission, but it is just like they tell the whole story just with dance and then these three singers. And it's so moving, but it sneaks up on you because you're like, oh, it's a dance show. Okay. And then by the end you're crying and you're like, how did this happen? Actions speak louder than words. Anyway. Than words. Sorry, did you find what you were looking for? The Tony.
I was just looking at. Tommy
I was just vamping.
It did not win. It did not win Best Musical. It won Best Book of a Musical, which is hilarious since we just said it was not.
Since it's bookless.
There's no book scenes. So that's fun. Hold on. Let's really get into this here. Let's go. Okay. It won direction, choreography, score, scenic design, lighting design.
Wow.
And it was only nominated for Best Book. It was nominated for Best Musical, so I don't know what won that year. In 1993. Anyway, look it up and tell us when you hit us on our socials at Theater Countdown. Theater with an R-E on all of our socials.
Yes.
I guess we got to get that in there.
We do. I was wondering.
With an R-E. Because we like to talk.
Yes.
Rate us and review us. Subscribe to the show. Join us on Patreon. We've got bonus episodes, and you can come watch us record the show live in person.
Yeah, you can participate.
Yeah. And you can ask us direct questions through our very private Facebook group. There's a lot to enjoy if you join us on Patreon, and it's also super cheap, and you can subscribe too on Apple and Spotify. So by all means do, and write us a review because we want to read more of those.
We do. We have such fun. It's fine. I had a friend just visit town, and he lives in Chicago, and my friend Johnny, hi Johnny, and he loves the show.
Hi, Johnny.
And and he said he was like, every time you say leave a review, he listens to us while he drives, and he's like, oh, when I get to work, I have to leave a review, and he was like, literally every time I get there, I forget. So now that we're in person, I'm going to tell you how much I love the show, and I was like, yeah, go leave a comment. But I was
It'll
really,
take you 3 seconds.
It was great though. I was like, yay, thanks for listening, friend. But that's why. Hi, Johnny. So
Johnny,
yeah.
Thank you for your support. Write a review. Write it in like as a parody of a some and we'll sing it.
That's
that
a great idea. Yeah, Johnny for a long time was my
can.
Marie's Crisis buddy. We went there and would belt out the Les Mis medley with such joyous abandon. He's good people.
Then Johnny knows what's up. That's all there
does.
is to it.
He's much more than Johnny One Note.
Singing the Les Mis medley.
Yeah.
No, Johnny 88 keys. That's what we call him.
Johnny
all 88.
Oh God. Oh man.
Johnny 88. So Tommy was great, and then we're telling 9 stories at once.
We are.
Wrapping
I'm
up
so
the
sorry.
Tommy thing. Loved it, but then I went. Tuesday, I recorded a new episode of Dance Captain Dance Attack, which is my web series on Broadway World, where I go into the studio with the Broadway dance captains. They teach me sections of choreography from the show. So I got to see Tommy and then learn Tommy choreography, and I do think that it should have gotten a choreography nomination, which it didn't, I don't think, and that makes me mad. But then I also recorded an episode with Water for Elephants and then saw the show. So they do a really good job of blending this. It is very circusy. Like, you're not getting diet circus. It is like all the crazy wild things. Like, everyone's in the air, flying through the sky at all times. So the point is, I like the show. I like the circusy thing. I like the show. I like there's an elephant. I don't want to spoil it. There's an elephant.
What? There's an elephant?
There's an elephant. I want to talk about the elephant in the theater. Where does an 800-pound puppet elephant sit? In a Broadway house. Anywhere it wants to.
Anywhere it wants. It'll have to go in the new Palace Theater with its fancy seats.
I know. Look, did you get to go to that? They were just they're opening it up again. They lifted it up 3 stories.
Yeah, I know.
I've
only
people in to
seen
look at it
pictures.
for the first time.
It looks beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Beautiful, and we're opening it up with Ben Platt. Come on.
I know.
There was
boy.
Judy at the Palace, Ben Platt at the Palace.
Yeah.
Which is kind of hard to say. Ben Platt at the Palace. That's a
Ben
lot of
Platt at the Palace.
plosive
Ooh, that
P.
is. I feel like Patti LuPone
Lots
needs
of
to do that. It's
plosive.
Ben Platt at the Palace. And I am looking for my puppies in the park. Oh, man. All right. Well, speaking of Broadway singers singing songs, not in shows, shall we get into our covers? That was the best transition I could think of. I'm not great at transitions, but
It's the best.
I'm learning how
It's
to
the
be good at
best
picking
transition
things.
I've heard all day.
Thank you.
It's the best transition I've heard all day. This is so today we're looking at covers of show tunes,
Yes.
which I've been very excited about for a very long time because I have my personal favorites that I've heard. But once you start to kind of research this and expand your library that's in your mind of crazy covers of show tunes, there's a lot of wacky stuff out there.
There is, and I'm saving some of the wackier stuff I think for my like 1 through 5 because I personally love those ones.
Yeah,
I also we'll get to it, but with my number 10 because I don't know, I might have cheated with number 10, but you can tell me.
Well, I want to talk about. We haven't talked about this yet. How did you approach this from like a criteria standpoint?
So, because I listen to so many show tunes and covers of show tunes, I literally just sort of went into my phone and I was like, okay, what are my like most played? And then, so what are the ones that like I genuinely must be drawn to? And there was one that I was like, I haven't actually listened to this in a hot minute, but I was like, it is fun. And I see why at a point in my life I listened to it a lot. So it ended up coming back onto the list. So I didn't,
Okay.
I guess it was really gray, my criteria. I just sort of surprised myself. But yeah, I went into my personal favorites. So.
Here's what I kind of assessed. I think that the cover can't be like it can't be the person singing the show tune in the context of the musical film, right? Like,
Oh
it
yeah,
can't
no. Yeah.
I don't, right? So it can't be that. I also, and this may shock you, and I think that maybe other people will not have this filter on their list when we get our guest in here next week. But I'm also not counting very recent pop songs that use show tunes as samples, as covers.
Oh, I didn't do that either.
How do you feel about that?
I agree with you on that.
Do you know what I mean?
Although
Like-
I do love the
like
one
it-
that's like, it's a hard knock life. Like, there are some really fun ones.
Life.
Yeah.
Right, but like if I were a rich girl, blah, blah,
no,
blah,
no,
blah,
no, no,
blah,
no, no,
yeah.
no, 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 no. Yeah, no, I think that's kind of cheating. I think it should be somebody who like actually covered the song.
I agree.
Okay.
And I think it has to be. I just feel like there needs to be a stamp put on it to qualify. And I also am drawn to the ridiculous as well.
Oh,
and
okay.
I will say this, although I didn't include this in here, but I did find an entire grunge rock Fiddler on the Roof album.
What?
It is every song from Fiddler on the Roof done by this grunge rock band. It is psychotic. It is
Amazing.
like, matchmaker, make me a match. Rah, rah. It's crazy.
Oh my god.
It didn't make my list, but I want you all to know that it's out there somewhere. I also felt like the covers needed to be fairly well-known artists.
Okay.
Like, because then if you get into, there's some really wacky, like, dance remixes of some songs.
Yeah.
That,
Like, I do love,
like,
I have
there's
I Am What I Am dance remix that's just like a disco version, but with basically no lyrics, and it's just like disco music. And I was like, nah, I can't pick
Well,
this.
but there's, okay, well,
There are
we're
there are
gonna
other
talk
ones
about
of that, but there's
because-
one that's just instrumental.
Right. There's some that are like. Also, how do you feel about this in putting this together? Because if we're if we're going oldsy to putting it together, well, tragic foreshadowing, maybe. Oh, look at you.
I know what you're
What
talking
about? It's crazy.
It's just too good.
It beat out all the other ones on the album. It's crazy. It's completely nuts. It's a movie. But you'll find that out on next
More
week's
to
episode,
come.
what we're talking
Yeah.
about in hinting. More to come. But what about like a lot of covers are? There's a lot of coverage of show tunes if we're looking at like jazz standard situations.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that. How did that play into? Because there's so much of that, particularly in songs that would be considered part of the Great American Songbook.
Yeah, and to be fair, like I did fall into that 'cause in my brain that does count, and that's when show tunes were also like, pop culture songs. Like we'll get. I'm very quickly going to take us there. But that's also a lot of like my musical taste. Like a lot of my favorite singers sort of come from that time. So those were the ones that I was admittedly more drawn to, which might be kind of cliche, but I just kind of felt like I had to own some cliche choices. Because
so now I'm very excited about that.
yeah. I mean, hopefully
I'm
they're not
wondering-
too cliche, but because that's where it almost was overwhelming. Because I listened to so much like Frank Sinatra, Ella Fitzgerald, Sammy Davis Jr., Judy Garland, Barbra Streisand, like these people who, when you're Frank, musicals were where you got half of your songs.
Yeah.
And also if you're looking at Gershwin tunes or Irving Berlin tunes, they were featured in multiple shows, multiple movies. Like the same song would be in 4 different things. So it's tough. So that's me. So I mean, spoilers. You're gonna get a lot of that. From
Okay,
me.
so let me put that. So you brought up Frank, and I'm not saying Frank's on my list, and I'm not saying Frank's not on my list. But I will say, I don't think we would count Frank's "Luck Be a Lady" as a cover. Would we?
Could you not? Because I think there are versions where he did different arrangements of it, like in concert versions. See, that's where this gets kind of tricky. Because he didn't sing it in the movie. Marlon Brando did.
He didn't sing it in the movie. Oh, then that changes things.
That's not his role. That was Marlon Brando being "Luck Be a Lady Tonight." you know.
Oh, I did not know that. I just learned something from you. So that does change the game.
Yeah.
That absolutely changes the game. Okay.
Which is interesting.
Fair
You would
enough. But
assume
then
that
there's
was Frank.
I
Yeah.
did assume that was Frank. Now, also, a line that we're going to have to see where we land on is if people covered a song in concert, I didn't count that. It needs to be produced on a record, is what I think. Otherwise, if we get into covers that are just one-off concert versions, I think that's its own list.
Okay. I may I may
Okay.
have picked one of those.
Okay.
But I can change it if you want to make that a rule.
I don't
I
know.
can do a
No.
I could do a real quick step ball change right now and change only that would only
know that
mess
you
with
can.
one of mine. I love a step ball change.
No, I want you to drop it on me, and then I want us to discuss it.
Okay, because it's my number 10. So we'll do it and then we'll move on.
Well, then I can tell you one thing for sure. Our number 10s are not similar.
Okay. Shall
we do it?
then? Let's do it. Okay, I'll go first
Oh
then,
my
since
gosh,
we already
okay.
maybe disqualified
Okay.
mine. You can tell me real quick, because if not, I
Maybe
already know
not.
what its replacement's going to be. Okay, so my number 10 is from a concert. So I personally love those Kennedy Center honors. Whenever they
Yeah.
honor somebody, like the Lifetime Achievement things, I love those. My entire
Yes.
list could have been just from Kennedy Center concerts. But this one, oh my God, like the one with Julie Andrews when they sing Sound of Music at the end, it's Rebecca Luker. Makes me cry every time. But
yeah.
my number 10 is the cover of They Can't Take That Away From Me when Tom Hanks got his award. And it's Kelly O'Hara, Jesse Mueller, and Laura Benanti singing this really fun little trio of They Can't Take That Away. And the reason I love it so much, it's a very simple cover, but at the end they each do a little bit of like, they can't take that away, and they each do it in their own way. And it's really fun to hear three greats take the same phrase and do it differently. But when they sing back together, their voices are so seamless. And this is just one of those when I'm like kind of sad, I'll go back and just listen to this. I just think it's such a beautiful cover. And there's a great moment where Kelly O'Hara's like, the way you love your wife, and she like points at him as if he's done something wrong. If you haven't seen this, I highly recommend you watch it. It's just
What did
great.
Rita do?
I know, but it's one of my favorite classic Broadway songs. I think it's so beautiful, and I think this is just such a beautiful arrangement. So let me know if that counts, though.
All right. In my world, I would say
You'd say no.
I would say it doesn't count. Because
Okay.
I think that's not a cover that was recorded that lives in perpetuity. That was an arrangement that was made for a specific live event. And for
Okay.
me, that doesn't count. I think that is a whole other countdown.
Okay.
In my mind. But does that throw you off your axis and hurtling into space?
No.
Yes, it does, obviously. Yeah.
No. I know what I want to do now. I'll just move, and everything's gonna shift up one, and my number 6 is gonna be an exciting surprise. Okay, so
Okay,
instead of that, wait, Chris, real quick, can
do you
we just listen to that
Okay.
end real quick? Just indulge me.
I do want to hear it. Yeah.
Okay, and then this will just be our bonus
I've done.
one.
Yeah.
The way you dance the keys, the way you changed my life. No, they can't take that away from me. No, they can't take that away. They can't take that away. They can't take that away.
Gorgeous.
I just love the two sopranos,
Listen.
and then Jesse's like, they can't take that. So good.
That is beautiful. There's no question about it. That's stunning. That's gorgeous.
But it doesn't
and
count.
I'm glad we heard it. I still
That's
don't think
okay.
it counts.
Okay.
Well,
so
I
then,
just think it needs to be in another list.
You're right. No, you're right. I agree. Okay, so my actual number 10 is
don't
going to
know.
be the human hug himself, Mr. Josh Groban, singing
Okay.
What I Did for Love from a chorus line.
Oh.
So Josh Groban did this great album called Stages, and I love it so much. There's lots of great covers on there, lots of great duets, but his What I Did for Love, I belt in my car with him so much, and I sound so bad, but I don't care. And it feels so good and it's so satisfying. So that's going to be my number 10.
This is the album. Okay, that I like that. Can we hear that? Let's hear that.
Yes, let's do it. Let's do a little Josh Groban.
Kiss today goodbye.
Yeah, it just had to happen.
And point me toward tomorrow. We did what we had to do. Won't forget, can't regret what I did for love. What I did for love. What I did for love. What I did for love.
And the reverb, it's very Phantom of the Opera. Like, soaring.
Yeah. That is absolutely beautiful. I looked at another cover of that completely bonkers. That was Grace Jones' version of What I Did for Love, which is like a pseudo disco thing and is positively insane. The Grace Jones. That's beautiful. Josh, hug it out, Josh.
I know.
That Stages album he also gave us the Kelly Clarkson All I Ask of You duet.
Which is so good. Yeah. Kelly Clarkson can do literally no wrong in my book.
And I know that she loves the show tune, which makes me incredibly happy. She's even, well, I'm not going to say it because who knows what'll pop up later on. I'm ready to hit you with my number 10, which is so wildly different than your number 10 that it's frightening. My number 10 is, okay, so you know that they purposefully were like, Hamilton is such a hit, we got to make the Hamilton mixtape, and we're going to have everybody, including Kelly Clarkson, everybody, Sia, Queen Latifah, everybody recorded versions of the songs from Hamilton. But no one artist explored the task at hand quite as deftly as one Mr. Weird Al Yankovic.
What?
And my number 10 cover, it is called The Hamilton Polka. It does exist, my friends. It's Weird Al Yankovic, and if you don't know who that is, get an education pronto, because Weird Al Yankovic, I will die on this hill, on this weird hill. They did a movie with Daniel Radcliffe playing Weird Al Yankovic recently on the Roku channel, which who knows what that is. But he has always done, like in his albums, he'll do like a polka remix of like all the pop songs from the era that he releases the album in. So he did an entire polka medley of Hamilton, and it is divine, and it is bonkers, and like there's chicken noises and boing sounds and gunshots and all sorts of crazy things, and I love it so much, and I'm very happy to share it with all of you. So my number 10 cover is the Hamilton polka, Weird Al Yankovic. Wait, just wait, Henry Higgins, to hear this. Hit it, Chris.
I am not throwing away my shot. I am not throwing away my shot. Hey, yo, I'm just like my country and young, scrappy and hungry, and I'm not throwing away my shot. We gonna not throw away my take a shot. We gonna not throw away my take a shot. We gonna rise up, it's time to take a shot. Rise up, and I am not throwing away my shot. There's a million things I haven't done, but just you wait. Just wait. What's your name, man?
What just happened?
And it goes on for almost 6 minutes of unadulterated polka bliss. It is wild as can be, and surely deserves a spot in our countdown. The Hamilton
That
polka
deserves a spot in every countdown. We're gonna do like
I'm so
best
happy.
performances by an understudy, and it's gonna be that.
Yeah,
Like
I'm
that was
so
amazing.
happy you'd never. Your face hearing it. I'm so happy you never heard of it before.
I didn't know my jaw could drop lower. That was incredible.
What a time to be alive, Hamilton polka.
Truly, what a gift! Oh my God, thank you. All I can
What a
say is
gift.
thank you.
You're so
Oh,
you're so welcome.
Oh,
I'm feeling
I don't
really
even-
benevolent about the whole thing.
I'm like sweating.
I know you're short of
is-
breath.
Oh my God!
I
don't know
imagine how
what that
Weird Al
just did to
Yankovic
me.
feels by the end.
I think he's fine, honestly.
It's just all the the wacky gunshots and the boingy sounds, and that's for the entire thing. I wish we could just spend the episode playing the Hamilton polka.
Can
All right,
we?
number
How
9
was
to
that
you,
not number
Juddy.
one?
Number 9.
Okay, number 9.
I know. Where do we
oh
go
my
from
gosh. Where do we go from here? Okay, I'm gonna take us back into like classic land. I'm actually excited that this is gonna be. I really hope this is how this entire list goes. Is I give you Josh Groban and you
Okay.
give me Weird Al. Okay, my next one is
love it.
Sammy Davis Jr., who's one of my all-time favorite singers.
Sure.
Who obviously part of the Rat Pack, part of that Frank Sinatra crew who covered a lot of show tunes. But this one in particular,
Yes.
if I had to narrow it down for my Sammy Davis Jr. albums, this one is my favorite. It's What Kind of Fool Am I? By Anthony Newley from Stop the World, I Want to Get Off. And I personally, I love, I think Anthony Newley is one of those Broadway composers that people kind of forget about. We get so many great ones, like Who Can I Turn To? Obviously, this one, which
Yeah.
we're going to hear. Lots of people covered his songs. He also, a lot of people know him from Dr. Dolittle. He did the original Dr. Dolittle and wrote that. And he's such a fun, weird dude. And he wrote these just beautiful songs.
such a weird
and
dude.
Sammy Davis Jr. covered a lot of them. In fact, I think he did an entire album of just Anthony Newley songs. And he, I think, is like one of the best at covering his songs. So, I just love them so much.
I know exactly what album you're talking about. It's called Sammy Davis Jr. The Showstoppers.
Ooh, yes.
It has What Kind of Fool Am I, and it's got Who Can I Turn To both on it. I listened to this.
It was between this and him doing As Long As He Needs Me. His version of As Long As or She Needs Me is also really great. And no one does a clear E vowel like Sammy Davis Jr. But this one is just personal preference. I just love this one. So hit it,
I'm
Chris.
so pleased with this choice. Well done, I say.
Kind of clown am I? What do I know of life? Why can't I cast away this mask of play and live my life? Why can't I fall in love like any other man? And maybe then I'll know what kind of fool
And the option up. But talk about just like acting through lyrics. Like every word. And I feel like he was just a master of that. Anyway.
Yes. Standing ovation. Standing
Standing
ovation. for that.
ovation.
That's killer.
He's
All
gonna
right,
know.
so let's talk about other covers of that song. Though, because there are some goodies to choose from. Linda Eder does a hell of a What Kind of Fool Am I? Where she's screaming in the rafters. And Dame Shirley Bassey does a hell of a What Kind of Fool Am I?
So
as well.
good. Yeah.
That's a song, but I'm with you on the Sammy of it because it's so from the gut.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
it's
from the
just
gut.
and there's just something about like he's with the music, but he's not like he's really just letting the emotions drive it, it sounds like. And he's sometimes just a little bit off, but it works. It's he's just perfection.
He doesn't need to be with the music. He is the music.
He is the music. He is the moment.
That's what kind
he
of
is
fool he is.
That's what exactly.
He owns everything.
All the things.
Oh, he's black. He's Jewish. It's all. He's doing it all.
He does it all.
All right. Number 9 for me. All right.
Okay.
There was a very prominent choreographer, dance teacher, who used to use this song that we all know, and used to use this version in his like dance warm up. If you go take his class, say at like Broadway Dance Center, and this would be the floor stretch song when you would like really get into lengthening your muscles.
Yeah.
And I remember just like they would like dim the lights, and then you would like really reach beyond the center, and it's just so good. And you know me, I like bombast. So we're going into the Lion King territory, my friends.
Great.
And the one and only Miss Diana Ross.
Yes.
Miss Diana Ross recorded, do you know this? Recorded a version of He Lives in You from The Lion King. And there's like this, she's added this, like the arrangement's super cool and super pop. And she's added this crazy, I don't know, African violin maybe. I don't know. That's what it sounds like. And it's just, she's got the chorus going on, and the production is just, well, it's over the top, which is why I like it. So Diana Ross, this was like in the like early 2000s, I think, is when she dropped this bomb on us. And I'm so glad that she did. Diana Ross singing He Lives in You from The Lion King.
So excited.
And I think they did club mixes of this too that you could dance to at the club. But
I hope
let's
so.
have a listen. Come on.
Okay.
Diana Ross.
He lives in you. He lives in you. He lives in me. He watches over everything you see. Into the water, into the truth, in your reflection.
Hey.
He lives in you. He lives in you. He lives in you. Oh yeah. He lives in me.
And the beginning of it is so haunting. You heard the violin though? It's so cool. It's very haunting. At night and the vision of meow, whatever the words are.
The vision of meow.
You know, she's totally feeling herself. The album artwork is like her with like deep purple lipstick and just, you know, Diana Ross hair just like blown back, just being a sexy vamp singing The Lion King.
Ooh.
It's too good for words. Thank you.
Oh, I
Diana Ross.
love that.
And one of my parameters too is I refuse to use artists more than once, right? So which took a lot of things out because Diana Ross and the Supremes really enjoyed show tune cover back in the day. They sure did. There was a parade. They did a lot of that stuff.
Ooh, I haven't heard that one.
The Lion King won out.
That's a
it's
good
kind of
one.
a wacky arrangement.
It is, and that's why I love. It's kind of unexpected, but I mean, I dare anybody to not like bounce around while you listen to that. Like he lives it, she lives in you, she lives in me. That's Diana Ross.
Yeah, I mean the thing.
She almost falls off stages.
The cast album. You're getting. He lives in you. You're getting, you know, CD de la Loca, Circle of Life in you. So this is fun, and she's adding like Hayes and Oh Yeahs in there, which is just nonsense. I love it.
Which we love. We love a hey, huh, oh yeah.
Which we love.
We do.
We love, yeah.
Okay. Well, you
got?
said Shirley Bassey, which is funny because my next one's Shirley Bassey. I love Shirley Bassey.
I do
And it's interesting because personally, so she does obviously a lot of covers of Broadway shows. She has a version of I Am What I Am, which I am obsessed with. But it's specifically from when she was live in a concert at Glastonbury. And when she's recorded it, it's very different. So I did not choose that for that reason. Friends, though, go do Shirley Bassey, I Am What I Am, Glastonbury. It is great. And you see her like dancing, like jamming out to it. Her arrangement's fabulous.
Yeah.
This one won out because it's kind of like, it's a weird song for her to pick, and it's a weird arrangement. It's Shirley Bassey's I Could Have Danced All Night. Which to me feels like a less obvious Shirley Bassey choice. She has this album, Show Tunes, which starts with Everything's Coming Up Roses. Like, there's a couple of Broadway tunes on there. You're like, Shirley Bassey did this? But it's great. And this I Could Have Danced All Night, I love because it's so different from any other version that I'd heard. Because she doesn't go into soprano land, obviously. She just like belts it.
Yeah.
And I just love a belty version of a soprano song. So yeah, that's why this beat out on I Am What I Am. But definitely go YouTube it. She's wearing an amazing pink dress. It's great. But here is Shirley Bassey singing I Could Have Danced All Night. She could have done a couple of dances, as she's going to tell us.
Oh my God.
When Chris
So
Danced the waltz. I could have danced the samba. On and on and on and on and on. I'll never know what made it so exciting. While it wants my heart to fly. Began to dance with me. I could have danced, danced, danced all night.
It could have been a
She had
waltz,
me,
a
and I could have
samba.
danced a samba.
Yep.
She
And when
could
you
have
see
been
her do this
samba.
live, she does a little samba, and it's adorable. And she just could have done them all
OMG.
on and on and on all night. And when it does that slow, I only know, it's so satisfying.
It's so self-indulgent.
Oh my
Shirley.
God, yeah.
Just how I want my Shirley Bassey. There are so many Shirley Bassey show tune covers that we could do an entire list on the top 10 Shirley Bassey show tune covers.
Yeah.
Because she does, we all know she does a hell of an As Long As He Needs Me.
Oh my
We know
God.
that she does a hell of, she does a version, well, maybe we'll put this in the bonus episode.
Okay.
Never mind, but there's a lot
Yeah.
of good stuff. There's a lot of good stuff.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I love that one just because it
Like
was
that
so.
Desperate Sound.
That to me feels like a little bit of a wackier one, where I'm like, okay, this doesn't feel like the obvious
Totally.
belty tune, and her arrangement to me is just so fun. And anyone who throws
It
dance a
elevates
waltz,
it.
dance a samba into a Lerner and Lowe, like you win hands down.
Yeah. I absolutely love that.
Good, yay!
Well
thank
done,
you.
Shirley Bassey. And she'll come up again at some point. But
I'm sure.
Either in the next episode or the bonus episode. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
I'm
Yes,
sure.
I'm sure. All right.
Yeah.
Now, so here, my number 8 got a little torn here.
Okay.
Because I'm looking for a good croon. I need a good croonage, and this is where Frank Sinatra came into my realm, because I think there's we know Some Enchanted Evening from Frank, and of course Like Me Lady, and
Night and Day.
but he
Yeah.
does. There's one that he does that no one else. Well, no, people do, but that just sounds like it was written for Frank Sinatra, and it's a Sondheim song. It's a Sondheim tune, and I think this is maybe the most luscious arrangement of this from Merrily We Roll Along.
Not the one I thought you were
Play
gonna say.
on Broadway.
On the Broadway.
No. Yeah, this is Frank Sinatra, Good Thing Going from Merrily We Roll Along. And it just sounds like Sondheim wrote this for everything that is Frank and Lush. Let's hear it.
Great.
Too much, was that such a mistake at the time? You never wanted enough. Okay, tough, I don't make that a crime. And while it's going along,
Ooh.
you take for granted some love will wear away. We took for granted a lot, and still I say it could have kept on going instead of just kept on. We had a good thing going. Going.
Right? I just feel like he's smoking a
Frank.
cigar. He's
Oh,
drinking
yeah.
a martini. I feel like that's as in the pocket for that very specific voice as a song could be.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, it being from Merrily We Roll Along didn't mean a whole lot when he recorded this, because there was a flop show, right? So it was kind of this ultimately kind of lost Sondheim hit. But in that loungy, easy going, like looking back
with
over
those
your shoulder,
super
regret,
60s,
my way kind of feel.
Yeah.
So 60s.
So
60s it
which
hurts.
I love.
It's so 60s it hurts. Yeah. So that's where I'm giving it to
that's
Frank
great.
right there.
Frank. He fascinates me because you hear he's
he's-
just like a little off. But like I read this great book called This Is Your Brain on
Totally.
Music, and they have a whole chapter dedicated to Frank Sinatra on why like his vocal imperfections actually are weirdly like neurologically satisfying to our brains. It was fascinating. Like
Really?
the author was a neuroscientist who studied like the effects of like music on our brains and how our brain responds. And he opened that whole chapter about Frank. And he was like, I personally do not care for Frank Sinatra, but I did all these studies and found that like of all the major singers, his is the one that our brains across the board, people's brains respond to the most positively, which was fascinating. He was like, there's something about the timbre of his voice, and it's specifically
Yeah.
in the imperfections that made his voice so appealing. Because a lot of other people
'Cause the
kind
pitch
of
is
sound like
always
him, but
just
nobody's
under.
quite like him, and he always backphrases.
Yeah.
It's an interesting read. Yeah. Anyway,
That is
I digress.
fascinating.
That's
Yeah,
my
it
nerdy
feel-
moment
it
of Frank.
feels somehow,
But that
I
song
mean,
is
for an
perfect.
entire generation, he was like the comfort voice, right? Like that's the voice you put on like a warm blanket. Was
Yeah.
the Frank Sinatra voice. Going, going, gone. Number 7.
But that's
for
great.
you,
I'd never
Jenny.
heard that cover, so I'm so glad
Oh, you
you're.
haven't?
No, and I loved it. I can't wait to go listen to the whole thing.
It's beautiful.
Okay, my next one is this lady. She's definitely going to be probably in your top 5. It's another one who's done a zillion covers. It's Barbra Streisand. You can't do a list without doing a Barbra Streisand cover. She has covered every musical theater song. She also has done some of the wackiest musical theater covers ever.
Yeah.
And amazing duets and some really strange duets. This one isn't super wacky. This is one I've just loved since I was a kid. Like this was one of the first Barbra Streisand songs that I jammed out to like as a child with the cassette tape, you know. So anyway, this is Down with Love. I don't know if I'm sure you've heard this one. And Audra McDonald actually covered Barbara's cover. And Audra does an even more like unhinged version of Down with Love based on the Barbara Down with Love. But this, to me, it's young Barbara. It's Barbara just starting to play with show tunes. Like at this point, I don't think she'd done that incredibly slow version of On a Clear Day yet. But you know, the one where it's just like, nah, and it takes 7 years to get through a phrase. But Down with Love, I think this is a song that a lot of people don't know. But she did this really fun, sort of upbeat, sort of wacky cover, and it
What
just
musical
brings
is it
me
from?
joy. It was written for Kay Ballard in, I think it's called Hooray for Love. I want to say is the song that it's from.
Okay.
But became one of those sort of standard songs. I'm actually really proud if I'm right, and I just pulled that out of left field. But I do know it is from a musical.
You're the only one I trust.
But yeah, I think it was written for Kay Ballard for a show that she did. It could have been one of those reviewy shows, but it was indeed a show. I think it was called Hooray for Love. Let's just look.
It was
quick.
called. It was in the Broadway musical "Hooray for What."
Oh, Hooray for What? Okay. I just
Hooray for
assumed
What
love.
was the name of the musical.
And Vivian Vance from I Love Lucy ended up
1937.
replacing her. And it's Kay Thompson, not Kay Ballard. I was wrong on so many accounts. I got the first half of everything right. Not Kay Ballard, Kay Thompson.
Yeah.
And not Hooray for Love, Hooray for What? From 1937. And it was recorded by Annie
that's a long time
Condon's
ago.
orchestra. But this is Barbara Streisand's version. Somehow she found it, and she did this really fun cover.
Oh, I love this.
Because I talk to the trees, but they don't listen to me. I tell them you say either, I say either, you say neither, I say neither, either, either, neither, neither. Let's get the whole thing off. Take it away, take it away. Give it back to the birds and the bees and the bee and bees. Down with eyes, romantic and stupid. Cupid, brother, let's stop that dough. Down, down, down I go. Round and around I go. In a spin, hating the spin I'm in. What is this thing? What is this thing called love?
Like,
so good,
she
so
just
good,
did
so
like
good, so
7
good.
songs for the price of one. She talks to the trees.
Totally.
And she is so just out. I just want to know what part of her heard the original song and went, this is the version I'm going to do. It is, I just love how kind of bananas
She
it
heard the
is.
possibilities. It's completely bananas, and that Audra McDonald version of that is so great. And I was just remembering, doesn't she go, down with Cupid, bang? Doesn't Audra
Yep.
McDonald?
Oh, with the
bang
most
and shoot
aggressive
Cupid?
finger
She's
gun
doing it?
you have ever seen.
Yes.
She straight up shoots
Yes.
Cupid down. It's a
Cupid,
great
yeah.
version. That's from a concert version.
Down with Cupid, bang!
bang!
Yeah, that's one that's definitely getting in the live concert version.
Yes. But I just,
and
but
there's-
yeah, Barbara, queen of the crazy covers.
Oh, it's so good. There are so many, and will be, as you know, as I have telegraphed, we'll be visiting her next week on my end. All right, my number 7 is we're staying in absurd land. Here.
Great.
Absolutely absurd. So I don't know what year this was, and maybe it doesn't matter, but they did an entire album with very popular artists doing covers of West Side Story, and I think the album was called One Heart. And
Okay.
everybody is on this album. Like America, there's a cover that's like Natalie Cole, Patti LaBelle. I think that like Selena sings A Boy Like That. Trisha Yearwood does this amazing cover of One Hand, One Heart. It's just all of these insane celebrities. But there is one cover in there that stands out that is so wild, it must be mentioned. And that, of course, is Little Richard singing I Feel Pretty from West Side Story. It is shocking.
I think I've heard this.
It is shocking. And I'll tell you what Little Richard never says in this song is I feel pretty, witty, and gay. And he uses all of the he pronouns. And I don't know that we'll hear this in this cut that I've prepared, but he ends the entire number by just saying, "Shut up."
Oh my gosh.
So unhinged. I can't really tell you about it. You have to experience it. My number 7
Okay.
is Little Richard, I Feel Pretty from West Side Story.
I'm so excited.
Oh, so pretty. Not the city. She give me a key. A committed. She be on the line to wanna be. I feel dizzy. I feel sunny. I feel busy and funny and fine. And so pretty. Mr. Universe can just resign.
It's it is so extra.
I feel like he was just making up words for a second there of just like things
Oh,
that
yeah.
he feels. He's
Oh,
busy. He's fine.
absolutely.
He's funny. He's Mr. Universe could just resign. Wow.
Mr. Universe can just resign. And I'll tell you what, I never knew that Little Richard had his finger on the pulse of what was going down with the Mr. Universe pageant contest. But apparently, I love the like, he's going to make sure that none of this feels feminized. It's Little Richard. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Is that, and he does. He ends, if you play it through to the end, which you will now because you know it exists.
Oh my
He
God.
ends it with like goes, and he goes, shut up. That's the end of the song. Woo! And that does it for me, Little Richard.
That was
Yeah,
magical.
absolutely.
I have
Why
to
not?
say, I am so thrilled
Yeah.
we're doing this because you are introducing me to the most fun covers. And mine, I feel like, are so on the nose, and yours are so, oh my God, just magical. Now I'm rethinking my top
I just
5.
went
My
with
goodness. You did.
OMG.
You're teaching me so much.
right.
OMG. Okay. Since I threw in another one, when you said that I couldn't do which I agreed with, the Kennedy Center cover, which I agree.
When I laid down the law.
You did, and I'm glad you did, because the Kennedy Center covers are their own list. You're right. Okay, again, you have to tell me if this counts, because this is the first thing that popped into my head. So it's from Family Guy, because Family Guy, as we know, does loads of covers, but they do put them on albums. And this is not one where they changed the lyrics, though, because they do change the lyrics a lot. Like, with Annie, like, my God,
know what
this
you're gonna
house is
do.
freaking sweet. And they did, like, instead of, from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, instead of Meal Bamboo, they do A Bag of Weed. So this is one of my all-time favorites. And this is one where they didn't even have to change the lyrics because they're so wonderfully
Yes,
ridiculous.
I know what
It
you're-
is
I know where you're
Peter
going.
celebrating Shaboopy. It is Peter
Shaboopy.
winning at football and throwing it down and grandstanding with Shaboopy, and the entire stadium sings along. It is one of the greatest moments Family Guy ever created. And I love a Family Guy cover because their orchestrations, the Family Guy orchestra is amazing. Sorry, go ahead.
Always.
This counts.
No,
Okay,
you're
great.
absolutely right. The Family Guy, this counts so hard. I can't believe you ever felt any trepidation. This counts
Okay.
so hard.
Okay, great.
Yeah, this is brilliant.
Yeah, if you haven't, friends,
my
just
God.
the Family Guy Shaboopy is just it's truly magical.
And the thing is, what's crazy about it is they do the whole damn song. They do the whole song in its entirety, and about a minute and a half into it, you're like, is this still going on?
Yeah.
It's like when
'Cause
they
the
do
whole thing is, I
chicken
wanna
fights on that
say-
show, and you're like,
Oh yeah, where it just goes on forever. Yeah, I think the song is like about 3 minutes long, and they do the whole thing with the full dance break, and it's so good.
it's so good. Oh,
Chris
bravo.
is just
Bravo,
rolling
Johnny.
his eyes. Thank you. I said this to Chris, and I was like, "Does
no.
this count?" And he was like, "We'll see."
Oh no, this counts so hard. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. This is a winner, baby.
Great.
You know
I
that
didn't
they
even know where.
packed
I
in
was
an
like, I think you
entire-
just do the end.
Yeah.
Sorry, what?
Well, the thing is, he does all the verses. And I go home, get to the first date. It's just, and I want to say that they animated like the actual choreography from the film or something.
Yup.
Like
They
it
did.
looks to me like they just said, "All right, that's the choreography in the movie. Everyone has to do these steps."
Yeah.
Bravo.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank
I'm
you. And
so
again,
impressed.
friends, just like you have to kind of watch it. It's on a Family Guy album. I did find it,
Yeah.
but just go to YouTube and watch it. That's just the little snippet if you haven't heard it. Go watch the whole thing.
Ooh.
So good.
What a dream. Okay. Well, does that put us at number 6 on me?
I know. Yeah. I just had to remember when they also did Starlight Express,
What?
but their whole cover is just Peter running around going, Starlight Express, Starlight
Starlight
Express,
Express,
Starlight Express. That's the best cover. That's my number one. Spoiler.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and that's that I just need to say, going back to our Shirley Bassey conversation that I couldn't possibly have engaged in, but Shirley Bassey does a completely cuckoo bananas cover of Starlight Express as well. Do you know
No.
this? Shirley Bassey sings Starlight Express. It's
Wow.
crazy. Honorable mention.
Okay.
Everyone listen to that. It's nuts because Shirley Bassey does an entire Andrew Lloyd Webber album.
Oh, that's right.
Shirley sings Andrew Lloyd Webber. Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. My number 6. And hey, if you like counting down with us and you want to geek out about theater, this is the place to be. So make sure you follow us on our social media at Theater Countdown, theater with an RE, because we ain't got time. And oh no, wait. No, we do have time.
No,
We're
we
just
do
too
have time. We're
sophisticated.
classy.
But we're just theater.
It's Twitter where we don't have
that's
time.
right.
Where
But
we're just
tell us
at
what
Theater
we are.
Count. We're at Theater Count
Right.
on X. Because that's where we ain't got no time. On the other ones, we've got time.
That's
and
right.
We're
Thank you.
classy. We're cool. We're smooth. We're theater with an RE.
Global. You can rate and review us. Don't just threaten to rate and review us. Actually do it. It'll take
I
3
know.
seconds.
Twill.
And we'll sing it to you. We'll read it back to you. Tell your friends about it. Join us on Patreon for all the goodies and the extras. All right.
What do we do?
Generally, that's what we do here.
Yeah.
My number 6. All right. I don't normally go into, because of my history with the program, I don't often insert Wicked into my countdowns. It's very seldom that I do. But in this instance, it's worth it. Stick with me, kids. All right. There's a brilliant West End actress who did play Elphaba on Broadway, and she was the first Elphaba outside of Idina Menzel in the West End. She's a huge megastar, but she works a lot with Brian May from Queen and has these like pop albums. And she's got this album called Anthems, that is all kind of show tunes. But the arrangement that I think may have been done with Brian May, we'll have to double check this. I'm talking about the great Carrie Ellis. And Carrie Ellis is one of the big Elphabas. She's amazing. She actually comes out and has performed on the Big Gay Cruises with us. So I've actually gotten to know her, and she is so fabulous. But she does a cover of, and I wouldn't think this counted because she played the role if it wasn't so very, very specific. She does a cover of I'm Not That Girl and turns it into like a rock, anthem. So it is, I'm Not Good The Girl is that one moment where Elphaba gets this very sing-songy, very gentle lullaby kind of feel. And Carrie Ellis got together with Brian May and said, what if we turned it into like a rock, like 80s hair rock ballad anthem? And it is so satisfying. I want to choreograph a dance to this. So if you're listening and you want me to choreograph that on you, I'll tell you my prices. So closing us out, it's got to be Carrie Ellis and her version of I'm Not That Girl. And we'll let her sing us out. But so we'll say for now, thanks for listening. And you've done a great job counting down, Juddy.
Thank you. You too. Your counting was fabulous, especially Weird Al. Oh my God.
I think we've all learned a thing or two.
We've
And when you
learned
learn a
many
thing or
things.
two with friends, that's
It's showbiz.
showbiz.
Kid.
Take it away, Carrie Ellis.
That maybe someday I'll be that girl.
Ooh.
That's
That's awesome. Yeah.
that's a cover.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.